Hello, everyone. So we're live today with Attorney Charles Kuck. And today we're doing a segment on traveling on DACA with Advanced Parole. I think he has answered this question how many times, Charles?
Oh, a jillion times.
But people are still not happy with the answer. So
I don't get it. How many times do you have to say, get advanced parole, travel, come back, fall in love, get a green card?
it's a tough decision. But today we're going to talk specifically about traveling on advanced parole with a deportation order. So we're going to start with, can you tell us what is a deportation order?
Well, this is when somebody typically there's two different types. Okay. So the first is somebody has been put into deportation, likely because they were a child, they got caught coming across the border with their mom or dad. And sometimes mom and dad went to court. Sometimes mom and dad didn't go to court. So sometimes they have an order because they had no relief. And the judge said, all right, you're deported. Sometimes they have an order where the judge gave a voluntary departure and they didn't leave. And sometimes they didn't show up. So then they have an in absentia order. That's all court related. There's also, like, every now and then you have somebody who has an expedited removal order. That is, they came in at the border, there was something wrong with their papers, they were fraudulent, maybe they didn't know about it. That happens occasionally. And the Border Patrol gave them an order and they deported them, but they came back. I mean, there's all kinds of orders like this. These are what's out there. But the most common is, hey, mom got caught, dad got caught, we went to court, and we had an order and I never left, and I was 2 years old. You get a lot of that.
And I only ask because a lot of people say, oh, you have a deportation order. The automatic response is like, what did you do wrong?
Nothing. So, I mean, a lot of times, especially if they're not Mexican, let's say they're Colombians, mom and dad came because they had a fear in Colombia and they lost their asylum case. And sorry for the light, but, and they lost. So they got an order of deportation. But they were 5, 6, 8, 10, 11 years old. Unfortunately, in our system, unlike criminal system where you have to be a certain age to be a criminal, in immigration court, you can get a deportation order as a baby. This doesn't matter.
Okay, let's see. Is any of those deportation orders that you talked about more difficult than others?
Well, I have to tell you, the in absentia orders are probably the most difficult in some ways. Because what in absentia means is I didn't show up. But for almost every DACA kid, they were minors. All right. So the reality is you didn't choose to not show up. Your parents chose to not show up. So many times, because an in absentia order under the law allows for a motion to reopen at any time. Now, it's supposed to be when you discover it. And, most DACA kids, when they got DACA, should have filed at that moment to reopen their removal order. But under the Biden administration is a uniquely good time to do this because they're under orders. The ICE attorneys are under orders not to be jerks. All right. So, and they had opposite orders when Trump was president. So you have a really great chance now of either requesting a joint motion to reopen in absentia or just filing a motion to reopen and saying, look, I was 5. I didn't know. I didn't even know I could file. I didn't know I could file a motion to reopen. And by the way, I'm married to my beautiful wife and my handsome husband, who's a citizen. And I've traveled on advanced parole and I've come back in and I can adjust, and please let me. So.
Okay, thank you. And so is an administratively closed court case a deportation order or not? Do those people have a deportation order?
A court closed case is not a deportation order. A deportation order is an order from a court ordering you to leave the United States. I mean, it's a piece of paper written out, signed by the judge. You're ordered deported. Now, sometimes the judge will have that order, will say voluntary departure. All right. So the judge asked your mom or dad, hey, do you want an order of deportation? Which means if you leave, you can't come back when you leave, you're deported, you can't come back for 10 years. But if you take an order of deportation, you can't come back for 10 years because you overstayed your visa. They don't tell them that part. That's the thing is, so there's a 10-year bar that comes with the order of deportation. But there's also the 10-year bar for being undocumented, right? So it's the same 10-year bar. The judges never tell somebody when they take voluntary departure, hey, by the way, you're still going to have a 10-year bar. And the reason not to take voluntary departure is that not leaving under voluntary departure has consequences, including a fine. So it's almost, unless you really are going to leave, it's basically never a good idea to take voluntary departure. But judges never explain that to people. And so lots of people have voluntary departure. The thing is that the negative consequences of not leaving under voluntary departure expire after 10 years. So, and almost every DACA kid who has one of these, it's been 10 years. So in reality, it's the same as having a deportation order and getting it reopened.
Okay. And so the biggest question is, can a DACA holder with AP with a deportation order travel on AP? So we know that you say absolutely safe. This is you right there, handsome guy. And then some random guy over here says, absolutely not. You will self-deport and you will not be allowed to be back 10.
Now, the good news is that the Immigration Service and ICE have made it perfectly clear on CBP, as well as the experience of 9 years of advanced paroles under every administration. If you leave under advanced parole, CBP is going to readmit you to the United States, even if you have a deportation order. There are obviously lots of people within Dreamers Together, for example, that have done exactly this. I have had, at this point, probably 100 clients that have done exactly this. It is perfectly safe to do so. And the other thing is, I understand why people are scared. I get it. I mean, they've never done this. And they may have heard from random lawyer or some random guy on the internet, oh, you'll self-deport. But that's not true. That's not true. You will be able to come back in. You will have a lawful admission to the United States or a parole back in that then opens up a whole broad swath of opportunities for you.
You know, it's kind of crazy because I was told the same thing for about 10 years. If you leave, you won't come back. And so I was a rebel and I left after seeing the stories on Dreamers Together. But let's see where we are.
Hey, because you heard me say this, right? You can
I did. I almost let it cancel. I don't know if you remember that.
I did.
It expired. So why is there such a disagreement among lawyers as to whether a DACA holder with a deportation order can travel or not?
Well, I mean, immigration puts this. This has been on the advanced parole notice for a long time, a very long time, and they use the term "will result in your being considered with." That's just not true. I mean, this is a legally incorrect statement.
Yeah. So if you can imagine somebody like me with a deportation order is so excited to get the AP. And then once you get it, that's the first thing you read. If you leave,
the thing is, most people don't read that. It's a little tiny. It's like a contract. Yeah, sign this, and you pay your furniture off in 10 years. Nobody reads it, right? Most people don't read it, but those that do go, ah.
Yeah, exactly. We go, ah. Then so here's the thing. So now CBP will let you back in, but now what side will UCIS take when you're trying to do adjustment of status?
Well, if you have a removal order, you're not eligible to file adjustment of status. Immigration takes the position that a removal order strips the Immigration Service of legal authority over an adjustment of status application because you're in removal. Even with a removal order, you're in removal proceedings. Now, I don't technically agree with that, but that is their policy. So if you filed that, what immigration says, you should file that adjustment with the court, even though you have no open case with the court. But immigration considers that to simply be an open immigration case, even with a removal order. So you have to get the removal order undone and proceedings terminated for USCIS to adjudicate your case. Okay.
Okay, so this is one of our members, Dreamers Together, who has a deportation order. She traveled on AP. Then she didn't know she had a deportation order. So she filed AOS, adjustment of status, and then UCIS said that the advanced parole document states that if you leave, you will be executing the order. And then they mentioned this section right here. So section INA I-212 states that any alien who departs the United States will execute the order. You left, and therefore you executed the order.
Except, what that doesn't, that's the law. That's what it says. But the advanced parole, which is advanced permission to return, that's what parole means. Says, oh, you immigration, you haven't left. Because advanced parole is permission to return, you've never executed that removal order because you had permission to leave and come back. That's why that law doesn't apply.
Okay. And so then look at this. We have the exact same case, but then this officer from UCIS said, you have not executed the order. So we still can adjudicate the order like you said. So is this really up to the officer on how
No. So they're actually both. Go back to the first one because I want to show you why these are the same thing. Okay. Now in this, go back one more. There you go. So in this case, it's really the same problem for both people. They both had outstanding removal orders. In both cases, they were ineligible to adjust because they both had removal orders. One officer took the position that, oh, you've removed yourself. That's legally wrong. Okay, that's a legally wrong interpretation, which can be easily fixed by a lawyer. I don't know if they had a good lawyer, but the lawyer is going to fix that. But it said they shouldn't have filed in the first place. You should not file your adjustment with an outstanding removal order because you will get the second. Go to the second question. You will get the second question, the second answer, which is, hey, we have no jurisdiction, which is what I mentioned about. We can't consider it. Okay, so that's why it's so important to understand that the USCIS has no jurisdiction over a case, an adjustment case, for somebody in removal proceedings.
Okay, and so then we go to the next case. Can UCIS technically approve an adjustment of status with an I-212 waiver?
You know, that is an interesting question. And the answer from the Immigration Service is sometimes. Because sometimes, but generally speaking, their current policy is no. Even though, what is an I-212? An I-212 is a forgiveness of an order of deportation. That's what it is. Current immigration policy is that, yes, we have forgiven you of your deportation. And if you had left the United States, you'd be able to consular process. But you're trying to adjust status. So the idea that even though we have forgiven the consequence of the order of deportation, that's what 212 is, we still have no jurisdiction because you still have a removal case. Because we can't undo the jurisdiction of the immigration court. So even though you file 212, which is really not, that's if you motion to reopen, you still need to reopen the case and get it terminated. Or consular process.
And I only asked because that was my case. So I filed the AOS with an I-212 together. And then, so they approved both of them together at the same time.
So they approved your adjustment.
They did.
Yeah, and that happens. But it's an incredibly inconsistent policy. But so they're quasi, and it depends on where you are. Now, woman, you're in California, right? So in Atlanta, they would have denied you.
Yeah, so it's sort of like if you're lucky or not then.
Well, it's not luck. It's where you are. It's the officer in charge. Because what we're lacking is an official explanation from Washington, D.C., USCIS to the field offices. Here's what the rule is. Immigration is really complicated. It's not just filling out forms. It's really complicated. So without specific instructions, these officers, all due respect, they're kind of drones, you know? This is what we're going to do. I do what I'm told to do. I can't go beyond my authority. So one office says, yeah, go to prove it. Some other offices, there's no instruction at all. It's left up to the random officer who sees a 212. This forgives a deportation. Oh, there's the deportation. Oh, been forgiven. Here's your adjustment. Not thinking about the jurisdictional issue of the authority to hear an adjustment case at the USCIS.
So with that answer, what happens if USCIS does actually approve the green card to someone like me?
Well, that's a great question. This could actually come back later. When you file for naturalization, a different officer who is going to look at the underlying adjustment will say, oh, we shouldn't have adjusted you. We're going to take your green card away.
Dang it. So I did file the motion to reopen and terminate with the court.
There you go. Kabam. That's what you do. So if you did get adjusted, You go to court and say, I'm a green card holder now, and we remove and open the case. So this is why it's just so complicated. You can do it both ways. Now, the way you did it is interesting because you did it in a way that is the more aggressive way of doing this. Okay, I'm going to try to get my green card and then go to court, and of course it's going to, because immigration judges also don't understand adjustment in immigration. The only people that understand all these things are experienced immigration lawyers, because we see the forest, but USCIS sees those trees. They see birch and elm trees. Immigration court sees walnut and oak trees. They don't see the whole forest. And somebody's looking at pine trees somewhere. So being able to see the whole vision, it's what's vitally important on this.
Okay, thank you. And then so this one, how does getting a legal entry through advanced parole can help someone who has a deportation order? What are the benefits that it brings?
Well, it allows you to adjust status. I mean, this is the most important benefit in the world that DACA gives, because DACA itself is the only benefit. DACA gives two benefits. We're not going to deport you, and here's a work permit. And then there's this kind of hidden benefit, number 3, advanced parole. It's kind of secret. It's kind of scary. You mean I can leave the country and come back in? Well, how does that benefit me? Well, now I have a lawful entry. I have been admitted or paroled under a section of law called 245A. And because I have been admitted or paroled, I, who have an immediate relative, a child over 21, who's a citizen, a U.S. citizen spouse, or if I'm under 21 and my parent is a citizen, I'm an immediate relative, I can now file to adjust. If I don't have a deportation order, I just file an adjustment. I'm 4 or 6 months, I have a green card. If I do, then I file an I-130, a petition by my relative, and say, hey, Mr. Judge, I now have a lawful entry. And 15 years ago when I was 6, my parents got a deportation order, but we never left. And I'm eligible to adjust status because I have a pending I-130 and in immigration, and I can adjust. And virtually every judge, not all of them, virtually every judge will approve this. A lot of people, however, had their parents appealed their case. So their case is not even with an immigration judge. It's at the Board of Immigration Appeals. And that's where you would file the motion to reopen. Can you explain the process to get rid of a deportation order? All right. Well, let's the first question, sub-question is not the main question. So to get rid of a deportation order, the best thing to do is file a motion to reopen with the immigration judge. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. You can file a motion to reopen on your own. If it's in absentia, you can file it anytime. If it's not in absentia, if it's not because you didn't go, there's a 90-day cap on that. You can't file beyond 90 days, which these are all beyond 90 days. So you would ask the government to join you in a joint motion to reopen. Now, the government's lawyers are overwhelmed. Never in the history of immigration have the immigration courts been this inundated with cases. They're just overwhelmed. And because they're overwhelmed, they're going to take a while to get back to you in a joint motion. It could be 6 months, 8 months to get back to a joint motion. Just use a good lawyer to do that, and they'll get back to you. And most of the time, they'll agree. I haven't had one of these denied. There's one case that's kind of hanging out there, but we think it's more government incompetence than anything else. Or you file directly with the court. I like doing a joint motion if we can. Unless it's in absentia, then we'll go directly to the court. And directly to the court's faster, because directly to the court, judge will generally rule on the case within 60 days, maybe less, give the government time to answer. The government doesn't respond, they just grant it. But again, a lot depends on who the judge is and where you are in the United States. Now, 212 waiver, anybody with a deportation order can file a 212 waiver. Anybody can file it. And it forgives an order of deportation. And as we just talked about, that might be a better strategy for you. Get the 212, file the adjustment. Maybe the city you're in, if USCIS grants adjustments, then you go back to the court and move to reopen and terminate the case. That might be how you want to do it. We don't always file 212s. A lot of times we just try to motion reopen first.
Would it be easier once you have the AOS getting the court to close your deportation then?
Oh yeah, if you have the adjustment approved, you have a green card, I've never had one denied by a court to reopen and terminate. It's like, you have a green card. What am I? Who am I to judge? As I noted, it's way easier under Biden. All right, so they have given instructions to their lawyers to exercise prosecutorial discretion, and the Supreme Court recently struck down a lower court ruling limiting the prosecutorial discretion of the ICE attorneys. Now, ICE has not resuscitated that yet, but the reality is they're doing everything they can to get rid of cases. Everything. There are I think there's like 2.2 million cases in immigration court. There's only like 2,000 lawyers. I mean, it's an insane number of people. And that doesn't include probably 2 million more that have come in the last couple of years who aren't even in the system. So, yeah, I mean, they're slammed and they want to get rid of cases. So, absolutely, much better under Biden. I mean, if you have spouses who are citizens, friends don't let friends vote for Trump. All right. Will the recent SCOTUS case? Oh, I didn't even see that earlier. Yes, this is actually going to have a real effect once it comes back into existence, and ICE attorneys will be even more liberal in giving out cases. I mean, one of the crazy things under their policy currently started here in Atlanta. ICE lawyers were given authority to just not go to court on a case. So somebody has an asylum case set up, they have a hearing, ICE just doesn't go.
Wow, good.
It'd be like going to criminal court and the prosecutor doesn't show up, and you're looking at each other, and you're a lawyer. You go, I move to terminate. Well, the thing is, you might have a really good case. You might have a great asylum case. You're going to win asylum, and the prosecutor doesn't show up, and the judge goes, look, prosecutor's not here. Case is over. Wait. I want my client to get asylum. It's really insane. It's truly an insane policy.
So even with that being said, does it matter like where in the country your case is at? Because mine is in California, LA.
Big difference.
So mine has been about 2 years that we asked for a joint motion to reopen. Never heard back. Never. Still don't hear back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a black hole. Now there are ways to get. You've got a good attorney who knows people, been around for a long time. You get answers when you get answers, if you're a brand new lawyer who, never appeared in court before, probably going to be ignored. I mean, it's just reality. If the ICE knows that you're the lawyer who will call the newspaper and get a story in the newspaper about how terrible ICE is, they're probably going to call you back. Google me. I've done it.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm just going to put you on screen. What do you have to say? Sorry.
We have any questions? I mean, I'd love to have, it's no questions. I'm shocked there's no questions. Here's what I would tell you to do. If you have DACA and you have not traveled on advanced parole, you are making a grave mistake. You need to get an advanced parole. 3 reasons. School. Maybe you do a study abroad. 2, work. Now, work isn't, my company wants me to go to, from Mexico. They want me to go to Mexico to fix cars. Maybe you're an engineer, for example, or you're a software dude. There's a conference in Canada. There's a conference in the UK. I want to go to this conference. Or you're a professor. You're a teacher. I want to go. I'm invited to speak outside. That's a great reason. You're going to a conference. And then the 3rd reason, which used to be very strict, but which today is pretty loosey-goosey, actually. It used to be my grandmother is on her deathbed, and here's a letter from the doctor I just got that grandma's got 20 breaths left, and I have to be there. Now, you're getting a letter from your Santísimo Tío Pablo who's, got diabetes. I need to go. Or you need to get dental work. It's way cheaper to do this. Or, heck, you're buying property. I have to go I have a business meeting because I'm buying property. There's lots of reasons why you can ask for advanced parole, and they're giving them. And I mean, not everybody gets approved. I mean, there's always some adjudicators kind of jerky to people, but I would bet, in my experience, probably 99% of the advanced paroles are going to be approved. And commit me if I'm wrong. It's about 2 to 4 months, somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, I think it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's taking about 2 to 3 months right now.
Yeah, which is faster than regular advanced parole for adjustment, which are taking 8 months. So I think immigration feels guilty for not working on the 90,000 DACA cases they got in the first 4 months of the Biden administration. None of them. They worked on none of them. They just kept the money, and then the court stopped it. So maybe they feel just a tiny itty bitty bit of guilt. So get your advanced parole, go have a great time. Don't drink the water. Come on back. You'll have a great time. They'll put you in the cuartito for a few minutes. They'll say, welcome home. Thank you very much. And don't bring any food back. Okay. Somebody put on the other day, they brought some mole or something. I said, really? Don't bring food back. All right. Just don't do it. The dogs are walking, little beagles walking around sniffing. I got caught once. I went to South Africa, and in South Africa, they have a special kind of beef jerky, but it's not beef jerky. It's like giraffe jerky and rhinoceros jerky and lion. Okay. It's called biltong. It's really good beef jerky. And I was at the airport, and I was inside the airport, and they were selling it inside the airport, after security in packages. And I had like $40 of Rand left. I'll never use Rand again the rest of my life. Oh, I'll buy some biltong. Man, I landed, and that dog was on my bag like that. They threw it away, Don't bring food. It just makes your time harder. Have a great time. Buy some food at the airport when you come home.
Okay, so we do have some questions. We're going to start with Adriana Salcedo. Adriana, would you turn on your camera or ask your question?
Adriana. Hi. So I have a question, and it's pertaining to me personally, and all the administratively words, all the deportation words are super confusing. But to me, I have the administratively closed case.
Oh, cool.
And I have an approved 130, but my husband is a legal permanent resident. He has his U.S. he has his citizenship interview in a month.
Ooh,
what is my route?
So the day he's naturalized, you get his certificate. You file a motion to terminate removal proceedings. You have to see what you have to do is you have to do a motion to recalendar and motion to terminate. I am now the wife of a U.S. citizen. I have an immediate availability to adjust. The court likely within 30 days will recalendar and terminate your case. You will file your adjustment, and 5 to 6 months from now, you'll have your green card and you can celebrate and name your first child after me.
Yeah. Oh, remember that.
You're in great shape. Listen, Adriana, you're like, if you're playing pool, you got 4 balls in a row. Boom, you're going to put them all in the hole, right in the corner pocket. You're golden. Just make sure your husband doesn't fail the test, okay?
I will make sure he studies hard.
Okay.
It's actually a really easy test. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the questions, but what's hilarious about it is there's 100 questions. They're only going to ask you 10, and you only have to get 6 right. So you have to get a D to become a U.S. citizen. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. I mean, cool.
So we have one question from Saul.
Better call Saul.
Saul? Oh, you're muted.
Saul, unmute yourself, buddy. There you go.
I'm sorry. Well, first I want to say thank you for giving us the time. Really do appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. This is fun. It's better than working.
So I have kind of like a 2-question thing. I hope I'm not abusing the time. The first one is for that 10-year ban that sometimes you can get from coming back with AP. Is that something that?
No, first of all, you never get a 10-year ban from coming back. The 10-year bar is fixed when you leave without permission. Coming back with parole means the 10-year ban does not apply to you.
Got it. Okay. Well, that clears that up. It sounds scary, when you hear.
I know it sounds scary. It's awful. There's actually a really great outline on this from our friends at the Immigrant Legal Resource Center. If you want to Google the Immigrant Legal Resource Center, which is just basically IRLC, they have a whole memo on advanced parole under DACA. It's great. It's thorough. It tells you that all this stuff is true. They're brilliant lawyers at this place. You're fine. Have you traveled, Saul, or not?
No, I just got some documents back from El Salvador, so I'm actually in the process to file right now. It should be done by next week, and then yeah, I'm doing that as soon
Wait
as
a second.
possible.
So if you just got the documents back now, why are you not doing it at 6 o'clock? What, is next week special or some reason, or what?
No. I got to send the documents to get translated to the chat, to the group.
You can translate them.
Yeah. I'm just scared I won't get it like perfectly,
You take your phone, you open up Google Translate, you point your phone at it, it translates it, you hit the copy button, and now you have a translation of your documents. Perfectly legal. Perfectly fine. You don't need a certified translation of anything. You just write, this is translated to the, and you just proof it, type it, retype it, proof it, say this is translated to the best of my ability in English and Spanish. Thank you very much. Boom. Boom.
I did not know that. So I'll do that today.
Boom.
I'll get going on that today.
Was that all your questions, or do you have one more?
One more, if you guys don't mind. And I don't think this is like too bad. So I had a lawyer who filed a prosecutorial discretion request.
Okay.
This was years ago. We never heard back from immigration or anybody.
Were you in deportation at the time?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
So,
do you have a deportation order now, or what is your situation?
Yeah, I still do have the order of deportation. They just never reply to us.
So did you get the order before the PD request or after?
Before, yeah, that order was made on 2005.
That makes no sense then. Why would you file a PD request when you already have an order?
I don't know. That's what the lawyer required.
That doesn't make any sense at all, because the prosecutor's never going to respond. You have an order. There is no PD request. Okay.
Yeah, that lawyer has really bad reviews. I shouldn't gone with them, but that's what they did. So
not every review is accurate. Some people are jerks with reviews, and some people. I get somebody pissed off. A couple of years ago, I took a position on a piece of legislation that pissed off a whole bunch of people of a certain ethnic group. So they left me terrible reviews, even though they were never clients, right? They just thought I was a terrible person because I was sticking up for DACA kids as opposed to them. And so it happens. But if a guy go to the website and he's got like 10 bad reviews from clients, run the other way.
Yeah, no, I'm going with you though. As soon as I come back from AP, I'm giving you a call.
We'll take care of you.
You found your new lawyer. Thank you.
Dreamers Together is also totally awesome, by the way. Totally awesome.
Absolutely, they are. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate it. Oh, so that wouldn't affect me, right? That they requested that?
Requested what?
The prosecutor?
No, don't worry.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Adiola, do you have a question?
Hi, yes. I have a question with regards to a persecutorial discretion that an attorney that I went with filed earlier this year in April or May. It got denied. It got sent to Boston, but it got denied. But
Boston's a terrible immigration court, by the way. Awful. Move.
I live in Texas now, but
move your case. So what was your case pending? No removal order.
No, I do have a removal order that was issued in 2012.
So he didn't ask for PD. There's no PD for a removal order. He may have been asking for a joint motion to reopen.
Yes.
That's different than PD. That's not the same thing.
Okay.
You know what? Screw them. File a motion to reopen with the court. It's a Boston order.
So the decision was passed in 2011, but we filed with the Board of Immigration Appeals.
All right. So your motion was with the BIA. You're lucky. File a motion to reopen. You were a child.
Well, no, I was when I went to court. So my case is different than most DACA recipients.
Okay.
I moved to the U.S. in 2002, and we kind of went on family vacation in 2008, and we were in San Antonio, coming back from San Antonio to Rhode Island, the state that I lived in at the time. But because my brother and I, we didn't have IDs, we had our expired passports, and that's how we kind of got stopped by ICE.
How old were you when you got stopped?
I was 20.
All right. So, again, I would file a motion with the BIA. Right. I wouldn't wait for.
Okay. So that is something.
Boston's terrible. So you're at the BIA. You got a pretty good chance of getting the reopening done.
Because it was the court case was originally in Texas, but because we lived up north, it got
the case is at the BIA. That's all that matters now.
Okay, so
That's
should
all
I
that
tell
matters.
the lawyer to file with the BIA?
Yeah, file a joint motion. File a motion with the BIA right now.
So we don't need the DHS.
You don't need their permission. Just file. Hey, change of circumstance. I assume you're married to a citizen.
I'm actually not. I'm
Well,
single.
I wouldn't do it until you have a valid basis to adjust.
Okay, well, that's what she advised me, because I told her I just wanted some legal advice because I finally have the opportunity to file for advanced parole
Yeah, well,
through
do
my
the
job.
advance parole. Do that. Get it done. Come back.
Well, that's
and
the thing.
and
She
then
told
fall
me
in
I
love with
couldn't.
somebody.
She told me I couldn't because of the deportation
But the
order.
lawyer's wrong.
Okay.
The lawyer's wrong. Okay.
All right. So
So
I
have a
will.
good time, and but then fall in love.
I'm
Somebody,
waiting
I
on
don't
that
care.
part.
I don't care.
Fall in love.
Thanks.
All
Thank you.
And then we have Diana. No, not Diana. Diana, do you have a question?
It's Dania. It's Dania.
Oh, Dania, I don't think she does. Henry, question?
I think he pretty much answered it, but I'll just kind of go again. My
Thank
question
you.
was, I filed for a joint motion to reopen in Texas, November, still pending I-130. The lawyer was like, all green lights, we have Biden approving with the New Mallorca memo and the Doyle memo.
What
approving
court,
this.
Henry? Where are you?
I think Arlington, Texas.
Arlington is usually Arlington, Texas, or Arlington, Virginia.
No, it's Texas.
Well, Dallas is terrible. Dallas has got terrible judges.
I don't think
and-
it's Dallas.
Well, Arlington is Dallas. That's the jurisdiction.
Okay. So my question was, with the Doyle memo and the Mallorca memo, how is it going to be helpful now with the new Supreme Court ruling?
Well,
was
again,
kind of
as I noted, ICE hasn't activated that prior memo. But if you've got a pending motion to reopen, your lawyer should be calling the court clerk saying, "Hey, I filed this motion to reopen in November. Is it on the judge's desk?" He can call the judge's clerk. Does the judge know about this order? About this motion? Has the government responded to the motion, Henry? Do you even know if they probably didn't even respond?
So I reached out to the lawyer's office, and I spoke to the person who is in charge of that, and they say, well, at this moment there's nothing pretty much we can do. It's just a waiting game now.
Well, that's not true. I mean, now you say the person in charge of it, is it a lawyer?
It's paralegal that assists with the lawyer.
Okay, Henry, here's the deal. You hired a lawyer, not a paralegal.
Right.
The lawyer can call the clerk. The lawyer can call the judge's assistant. He needs to do that.
Okay.
You paid him to do that. All right. You're the lawyer. You're the client. You're in charge. The lawyer is acting for you.
Charles, do you have time to answer some Facebook questions?
Of course I do.
Okay, so somebody said that's what my cousin did, the I-212. Crystal.
Hey, thank you, Crystal. How you doing? Karen, should I file my first before closing order of deportation? Yes. File your I-130. I was granted an emergency parole. I was so nervous to leave. I still show up to ICE. Wait a second. You're still showing up to ICE even though you have DACA?
Some people do.
What? You need to cancel that reporting if you have DACA. That's the first thing we do if a client hires us. If they're local, call ICE. Say, why are they reporting? ICE is up to their eyeballs in reporting. They don't need you to report. You have DACA. You're not being deported anywhere.
We have two members that still report to ICE even though they have DACA, which is weird.
Hire a lawyer and get that terminated. You don't need to be reporting to ICE.
Then we have...
Oh, you're welcome, Crystal. My pleasure. ICE could ask Parole and requested FOIA to see about deportation order. Who cares? You're still coming back. The reality is, you ask your mom or dad, Mom, Dad, have you ever been in ICE's custody? You ever been given documents from ICE? You ever been ordered deported? If they say no, then what are you doing a FOIA for? It didn't happen. There's nothing to FOIA other than you'll do a FOIA, you get 10 years of DACA documents back with nothing else. But if they say, I don't remember, all right, well, then do a FOIA. But remember, ICE doesn't have your fingerprints if you were a child when you came in. They maybe have your name. Maybe they don't have your name. FOIA is kind of a crapshoot for DACA kids. You will get your DACA documents. And remember, you have to FOIA ICE. ICE is a different agency from USCIS. And ICE is in interminable delay. If your family was caught at the border, you have to FOIA CBP, different government agency. You have to file different. And if you didn't have a name or your parents used a fake name, you have to do an OBIM FOIA where you send your fingerprints in. Now, if you came in as a 5-year-old, they don't have your fingerprints. So, again, this is where you want to talk to a lawyer about what to do. You don't always have to do a FOIA. All right. That's what I'm saying. Puede salir del país con Advanced Parole aprobado. Tengo DACA, pero tengo 2 deportaciones. Primera vez asunado. Una acta de una americana. La segunda vez oral. Puedo pedir. I mean, puedes viajar por DACA, pero nunca vas a arreglar la residencia. Entonces, ojalá estás saliendo por una emergencia pura, porque nunca vas a poder usar esto para arreglar si usted clamó de ser ciudadana. Como de más de 18 años, cuando lo hizo. She came back and I said, hey, yeah, all right. Hey, Luis, we got him. Let's get her done.
Those are the cases we want to see.
That's it. Let's get her done. Claudia brought back more. This is Claudia. She brought back mole and queso. I can't believe they didn't take it from you. They're probably in the back room eating mole and queso.
Sometimes you wonder, did they really throw it away or they just ate it later?
They mostly throw it away. Yeah, they're supposed to throw it away. We're getting the investigator because Dr. Judge charged me as an arrival. Well, yeah, if you were charged as an arriving alien, immigration has original jurisdiction, so it does depend on the NTA.
So right. She can do AOS now with the deportation order, correct?
Yeah. I have a question. What would be similar to apply for criminal background travel in AP? Would AP still be recommended? What criminal back? If you have DACA, your criminal background is not a bar to entry. Okay, because you wouldn't have DACA. Anything that would bar you entry would mean that you wouldn't have DACA. So I would not worry about that. Now, what I would do if you have, an old reckless driving or something, I would have in my back pocket a certified copy of the disposition of the case in case they ask. But generally speaking, there's no problem. I've removed it. Is it safe for me? Yes, it's still safe. Rewind this live stream to the very beginning.
Yeah, we talked about it.
All right. How to remove order without knowing it? Yeah, I mean, your parents didn't tell you. Happens all the time. That's why you need to have an honest conversation with your mom or dad.
Going back to this one, I got denied advanced parole at an info pass because the officer said they cannot grant it if you have a deportation order.
Yeah, the local officers aren't always educated on this issue. And that's, if they're going to deny it, you need to ask for a supervisor. Tell me, I want to talk to the supervisor. The supervisor should know. You can file again, Clary. What you'd want to do is talk to a lawyer who's done this before. Look at the prior motion to reopen. Look at the changed circumstances. Now, for example, you have travel, you have a legal entry, you have a U.S. citizen spouse, or you have kids who are 21. You're adjustable. In 2013, under Obama, remember his nickname. Obama's the deporter in chief. Okay, Trump was an amateur. Trump was a joke compared to Obama. Obama deported more people than Bush 1, Clinton, and Bush 2 together. So, and even put Trump in there. But Obama was the man. They wanted to deport. So, yeah, you have a chance today. There you go.
Success right there. You don't give up.
It's the deal. I have an approved 212. Oh, Crested AP for work conference. Kansas City, you're going to work conference. So what I would do for you, what I would say in your case, file the adjustment. Okay. At the same time, be filing a motion to reopen and terminate your case. Hey, court, this has been forgiven. Can you terminate the case? I've got a pending adjustment. That's what I would do. First of all, I am shocked that your husband has top secret clearance and you're a DACA. That's shocking, honestly. That doesn't happen very often. Your husband must be someone super special. And no, it doesn't help. But that's okay. You're going to get a green card anyway. Thank you, Jade. Soy casada con un ciudadano y tengo un hijo mayor de 21 años. Tengo TPS y orden de deportación. Yeah. Viájese, obtenga su entrada legal, haga la misma cosa, una moción de reabrir su deportación después de que ponga su aplicación de residencia.
And for TPS holders, it's easier than that.
Oh, it's easier. It's easier for TPS. You can travel for any reason. Oh, I would like to buy an arepa. All right, great. That's your reason for going. You want to get real arepas. Great. There you go. Any reason whatsoever. Oh, I love Natalie. Natalie's awesome. Natalie's going to come work for me one day. As soon as she moves to Atlanta, God forbid you die reentry. Well, first of all, if God allows that to happen, you call me and I'll fix it. Okay, because it's never happened. It's never happened.
Okay, and so it looks like we are done through all the questions.
Awesome.
We definitely appreciate having you today. Hopefully, the people can now watch the video and say, yes, I can travel with a deportation order, because we keep saying it and they don't believe it.
You can do it. You can certainly do it. Get the advance. Don't travel without an advanced parole. But get your advanced parole. You will apply for it. You will get it. Remember, when immigration gives that to you, they know you have a removal order. You told them you have a removal order. You're going to come back. You really are.
You will be scared, but you will come back.
And if you want to, if you don't believe me, you can believe the people at the Immigrant Legal Resource Center who tell you the exact same thing.
We have about 150 people now that have traveled with deportation orders. Zero questions at the airport about the deportation.
Zero. There are thousands that have traveled, tens of thousands that have traveled. Keep in mind, there's at one point, there was 900,000 people, almost 1 million people with DACA. Today, there's only 570,000. What happened to the other 400,000? They traveled and got green cards. That's what happened. It could happen to you too. It's like magic, but better.
The last question is mine. So, since I got my green card with the I-212, I can use it to travel abroad, correct?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Okay, 'cause I'm going next month. I want to go use it.
Where are you going?
Guatemala, that's where I'm from.
Guatemalteco, que chévere. Cuidado, gringos que hablan español. And for those that wonder, why does he speak Spanish? He is an old white guy.
I'm going to surprise if you do, yeah.
40 years ago, I lived in Peru for 2 years. During the terrorist movement, when the Sendero Luminoso was active there, and that's where I learned Spanish as a young man. So that's why I speak Spanish like a Peruvian who knows Mexicans. That's my Spanish.
Well, you're really good. I gotta say,
it's not bad for a gringo.
Yeah, not too bad. Not really good for a gringo.
Wilmer, it's been a pleasure. Love the painting behind you. That's why I've got this cool Peruvian painting behind me.
I love that one too.
Along with Yoda. Got to have Professor Yoda.
Oh, yeah, over there. Well, definitely, we appreciate you taking your time, because I know you're a busy man, and taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with us, it really means a lot to us.
Always a pleasure to talk to my friends at Dreamers Together. You guys have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.